Hey everyone, Cahlen here. I was starting to make wizard chocolate and I figured, I might as well show you the process of how I'm doing it. Okay, so basically first I have this silicone pot which came with my folding solar oven, which is really cool. It flattens out, has a lid somewhere. Here it is. Has a lid. You put this in the solar oven and it's basically going to melt everything, right? So what I'm doing is when you buy coconut butter, it's going to come with a layer of coconut oil on top, and so I actually separate those into two different containers. So this is my coconut oil that was in this bucket when I opened it, and then took it out to get to the layer of coconut butter, right? So the oil is going to melt very quickly and form a layer of high heat at the bottom, which is going to help the rest of the coconut butter to melt. So coconut butter is a little bit difficult to melt because there's kind of a small temperature range, right? You can burn it, right, if you go too quickly or put it in too high of a heat. But if you don't give it enough heat, it's going to take a really long time to melt. So I still play around with this, and you'll see how well it works in the solar oven today. So anyways, a little layer of coconut butter. Most of this is coconut butter. This piece and this piece is, this is coconut oil. This is coconut oil, and then I'm going to be basically filling it with coconut butter from here. And so it'll melt down to about halfway. Even though I fill it up, it'll melt down to about halfway, and then I'm going to add the Wizard's Brew drink powder to it, basically until I can't add it anymore, right? And then I'll let it harden. So I'll show you all of that as we go along. Okay, so I've got this mostly full now, and it's nice to break it down into smaller chunks because those will melt more easily. And it's important that this is black, because when we put it in the solar oven, it's going to absorb more heat. So I also wanted to show you how I'm scooping it out. So this stuff is pretty hard. I use my survival knife. This is Moore knife, Garberg, or something like that. And I just cut into it, break off chunks. It also helps my knife stay well oiled to use this. So it's actually good if you have a knife. This, if you're not careful, this thing can rust. This is a very important tool and it can last you a long time if you take care of it. So, keeping it oiled, and I think coconut oil is probably the best because it's going to be harder at lower temperatures and therefore be more kind of permanent on the blade, you know what I mean? So, but you can use like olive oil or, any kind of oil. Okay, so now it's in the solar oven, and this thing is cool. It's very lightweight, folds down, fits in my backpack, actually serves as a kind of a back support. So, and then it also comes with this little tray, which heats up really easily. So I use this thing basically to heat my water bottles to make Wizard's Brew, just by adding the powder to it and shaking it up. But I also use it to make the Wizard's chocolate like I'm doing here. So this will probably take several hours to melt, so we'll just check back in later. So I'm actually almost out of Wizard's Brew powder right now, so I'm going to be making some more today, so that's perfect. It goes right with this video. So let me just show you the ingredients lineup. So these are the three main things that are basically appear the most in it. There's arrowroot powder, which basically thickens it up, adds a starch, so it's a source of calories. Soy protein isolate basically is a good vegan way to get all of the proteins that you need. Soy protein isolate doesn't have the estrogenic effects of normal soy, and plus this is non-GMO. So then there's chocolate, or cocoa powder, so organic cocoa powder. So basically you're putting 3 parts of this of each of these to 1 part of each of these, right? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 6 scoops of that, 6 scoops of that, 6 scoops of that, then 1 of that, 2 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 of that, right? And then I'm going to just mix it all up. So creatine, I'm not going to go too much into all the reasons why, but stevia is a sweetener. This basically adds more starch and also helps get kind of your blood going, opens up your blood vessels with nitric oxide. This is psyllium husk, so that is basically fiber. Sunflower lecithin is a fat which also helps other fats that you add to whatever you're cooking or drinking. Basically helps it to blend into water. It's a emulsifier, and it also has choline in it, and then spirulina has a bunch of stuff in it that is pretty hard to get with a vegan diet. So these are the two types of containers that I keep the bucket in. This is basically for when I'm going backpacking, so I'll fill this up with the powder, and then this is kind of the backup store where I keep all of the extra stuff. So I basically try and keep this mostly full, and whenever I go out backpacking or something, I will pour some of it into here, and that's what I'll take with me. So I'm going to be filling up this thing today. I'm going to be using this thing to mix it. So basically I'll be taking the scoops and putting it in here and then mixing it up and then throwing it in there. So I'm just using my titanium camping spork. I've already put 2 scoops in there, and just get, a big, heaping scoop, and I just keep an eye on doing pretty much the same amount for everything else. So six of this again, 6 of that, 6 of that, and 2 of all of these. Here it is, pretty much all mixed up. And we're just gonna pour it in here. And then we're gonna do it again. There's the full buckets, or mostly full. Put a little water absorber in there, and then put the lid on. These are nice little buckets. This was coconut oil at one point, but they work really well, keep the rain out and all that. And I got a nice little cover for these. Okay, let's check on the coconut butter. You see it looks pretty melted, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it off and start adding some powder to it. So it's not an exact science. I'm basically just going to put a bunch of scoops in there and then mix it up and then add more scoops and keep going until I can't really get any more. Okay, so I got 30 scoops in there, which is the most I've gotten so far. I think that's gonna work pretty good. So basically at this point, I'm just gonna cover it up and put it underneath the apricot tree overnight. So here's the tree. It's gonna be mostly in the shade here. And you could eat that. You could eat this right now, right? It tastes like cake or brownie mix. It's really, really good. But I like to have it in the solid form. All right, it's the next morning, so let's take a look at it. Zoop. See, very hard. And basically with this thing, I can kind of peel it away. It's gonna be hard with one hand, honestly. But let's see if I can do it. And you can because it's a collapsible silicone thing, I can actually just put the sides down, right, and take my chocolate out. See? Got a nice piece of chocolate. So I can just eat this thing, right? I can just take this wherever I'm going and basically just start biting into it or breaking pieces off, and it has a huge amount of calories in it, and it's got a lot of nutrition. So I can actually live off of this thing. This single piece can probably feed me for at least 3 days by itself. And it tastes like candy, right? It either tastes like a chocolate bar or like a brownie or like a piece of chocolate cake or something like that. It's really delicious. Another thing I can do is I can heat up water in my little solar oven in my titanium water bottles, add a few chunks of this, and I basically have instant hot chocolate, which I can also live off of. So anyways, one thing to be aware of, if it does start to get warm, this is going to start to melt around the surfaces again, so I need to store it in a container which can contain those liquidy drippings. So definitely keep that in mind if you're living outside like me. When it starts to get hot again, it's gonna melt a little bit on the extremities. So anyways, that's how I make the Wizard chocolate. I hope you give it a try. It's definitely worth it. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please consider sharing it.
If you'd like to help me out in a more substantial way, you can learn how to do so at cahlen.org/gift. And if you'd like to have a one-on-one conversation with me, whether publicly or privately, you can learn how to do so at cahlen.org/one-on-one. Thanks again for watching.